first met Jason and Carrie when I was interviewing realtors for my upcoming house sale. I was really methodical about meeting realtors to determine who was going to list my house. And one of the realtors I met with mentioned that in determining where she would price my house, she had reached out to one of the neighborhood experts, and she mentioned Carrie's name. So a light bulb went off in my head, and I thought, well, why don't I just reach out to Carrie directly? So I kind of had Carrie's name in the back of my mind. And then out of the blue, Jason had emailed me, so that kind of got the ball rolling on how I met them. The determining factor in choosing to work with Carrie and Jason was how honest they were with me throughout the process. I had some realtors come in with estimates that they could sell my house for a couple $100,000 more than I was asking. But Jason and Carrie were just very real about where pricing was, where the market was, what my house needed, and I just felt an authenticity with them. They were really easy to talk to. I met with numerous realtors before I chose them, and I found them to be the most honest about pricing, about the process. I had other realtors quote me much higher numbers for what they thought they could list my house for, but Jason and Carrie seemed to really have the expertise and the experience to lay out why they thought my house should be priced where it was, what my house needed. And there was just a genuineness to them that I really enjoyed talking to them and working with them. The communication with Jason and Carrie was spectacular. Before I even decided to work with them, I was kind of a tough sell. I asked some really pointed questions, and I pushed back a lot on things they were telling me, and they never closed down. They always welcomed my questions, and they were very thorough in their responses. I remember one rainy night, something came up. I think a house listed in my neighborhood for much lower than I had expected, and I was kind of panicked about that. And as soon as they were free, they came right over from the prior event they were at to come and meet with me in person and talk about things and kind of reassure me. So from beginning to end, communication with them was wonderful. And not just all the fun, happy stuff, but the real stuff, the real numbers, the contract discussions. They were always very open and easy to talk to. Well, the marketing was spectacular, and that was one of the factors that made me choose them, besides what a great team they are. They had beautiful marketing ideas, very unique ideas, their Nosy Neighbor program, the open houses they had scheduled. They laid everything out for me before I even moved out of the house. I knew exactly what was going to happen, when it was going to happen, what their expectations were. So it was very marketing oriented, but they brought together all the components, the financial, the marketing, and then the personable parts. So it was a really nice team approach. They handled that beautifully. I was really nervous about how the purchase price was going to turn out because numbers were kind of all over the board for my unique property. And Jason and Carrie came through above expectations. They got me a price above my asking price. They beat my listing expectations, and I think they actually got the highest price per square foot in the neighborhood. So they knocked it out of the ballpark, and they did it in 3 days. So I didn't have that nervousness of having my house on the market, wondering if I needed to drop the price, wondering why things weren't selling. Everything was just pitch perfect. They handled everything perfectly. Carrie and Jason from the Levi group at Coldwell Banker were just phenomenal to work with. And I'm kind of tough to work with. This was one of my biggest financial transactions, and I had really high expectations. And they took care of the big stuff, getting me, above asking price, taking care of all the details, but they also took care of the little things that could have made this a really difficult experience for me. I was moving out of state by myself, and once I pulled away from my house, I knew my house was in good hands, and they just took care of all the little things that I didn't have to worry about. If the cleaning people missed something, Carrie went over and took care of it. Carrie decided that there should be flowers on my back deck and in the front of the house, and she brought them over from her own house to just spruce up my house. So it was the little details, and then at the end of the day, it's the big picture of getting me above asking and being flawless throughout the process. So I consider them now friends. I didn't know them before, but they were trusted financial partners through a very critical process for me. So I love them. They're fabulous.